You graduated at the top of your class. That wasn't luck. That was 4 years of living on instant noodles and borrowed textbooks while other people spent their weekends at parties you could never afford. You came from nothing. A single mom scrubbing hotel floors on double shifts just to keep the lights on. A small 2-bedroom apartment, walls so thin you could hear your neighbors arguing about rent. But you were sharp. The kind of sharp that made professors lean closer and classmates step back. Law school was meant to be your way out, and on paper, it was. You passed the bar on your first attempt, top of your class, a flawless record that looked incredible on a resume. But paper doesn't pay $140,000 in student loans. The offers coming in are public defender jobs, 70 cases at the same time, a paycheck that barely pays for a tiny studio apartment in the worst part of the city. Then an envelope shows up. No return address, no company logo, just a simple card inside, a name printed in clean black ink, a firm you've never heard of, and a phone number. You call the next morning. A woman with a smooth, glass-like voice answers and schedules an interview for that same afternoon. The office sits on the 42nd floor of a building you've walked past 1,000 times without ever looking up. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather chairs so soft they almost feel alive. The kind of silence only money can buy. At the end of a long mahogany table sits a man named Vasquez. He isn't flashy, not loud, the complete opposite. Calm, controlled. The kind of calm that comes from knowing exactly how much power you carry in any room. He looks at you the way someone reviews a contract. Slow, precise. Then he speaks. He says he's heard about you. He needs someone brilliant, driven, and smart enough not to ask questions that don't have answers. The salary he offers makes your stomach twist. You try to keep your face neutral. You don't succeed. You should walk away. Every ethics class you ever took is shouting in your head. But ethics don't pay student loans. You shake his hand, and the clock starts ticking. At first, the work seems clean. Contract negotiations, business disputes, corporate mergers between companies you've never heard of. Normal work, just dressed in expensive packaging. You are good, better than good, exceptional, and Vasquez notices. He keeps you close, but never too close. Every case feels like an exam you never agreed to take. Every win opens another door. You know you're being evaluated. You just don't know for what. Then one Tuesday, everything changes. Vasquez calls you into his office, closes the door, and slides a single file across the desk. One name, one charge. Possession with intent to distribute. One instruction. Make it disappear. You open the file. The air grows heavy. The defendant isn't some random criminal. He's a man you've seen in the lobby, someone who held the elevator for you last week, someone who smiled at you like you already belonged. And the evidence is overwhelming. Surveillance footage, a wiretap approved by a federal judge, a signed confession recorded by DEA agents. Any normal lawyer would see a dead end, but Vasquez didn't hire you to see dead ends. He hired you to turn them into highways. You lock yourself into the case for 2 straight weeks. You aren't searching for obvious loopholes. You're hunting for something small, invisible, something the prosecution missed. And you find it. A tiny procedural error buried inside the wiretap authorization. The paperwork was filed 12 hours after the legal deadline. In 90% of cases, no one catches it. You do. In court, you take that 12-hour delay and tear the prosecution's entire case apart. Evidence gets thrown out. Witnesses are discredited before they finish a sentence. The jury never hears the full story. The verdict comes back in 38 minutes. Not guilty. That night, Vasquez calls you at home. His voice is calm, like always, but beneath it, barely noticeable, there's something like pride. He says 2 words. Welcome home. After that, the assignments begin to change. Not all at once. Vasquez is far too careful for that. He eases you into darker work, step by step. Next comes a money laundering investigation. You design the legal framework that shields 3 shell companies from federal attention in under a week. Then an arms trafficking case that never makes it to trial because the key witness suddenly develops serious memory issues. You don't ask questions. You've learned some questions aren't meant to be spoken inside this building. The paychecks always arrive on time, clean, impossible to trace. You move out of your cramped studio into a better apartment. You send money to your mom without explaining where it came from. You buy her a winter coat for Christmas. She cries and tells you she has never been more proud. That hurts more than you expected. But money isn't the real reward. Access is. Vasquez starts pulling you into private meetings, rooms filled with men in perfectly tailored suits, calmly discussing supply routes and territory disputes like Wall Street executives reviewing quarterly numbers. You're no longer just a lawyer. You're building the structure. Every legal wall you raise, every investigation you quietly shut down, every rival you erase on paper feeds the same machine. 8 months in, Vasquez gives you something different. Not a defense, not paperwork, a target. His name is Torres, a competitor siphoning the organization's supply lines from the South. Torres has his own lawyers, political connections, and protection. Vasquez doesn't want him in prison. He wants him removed legally. A thick dossier lands on your desk. Every property, every shell company, every questionable transaction. Your mission is simple: bury him. For 6 weeks, you work from the shadows. Anonymous tips, financial trails, injunctions, frozen accounts. No bullets fired. But by the end, Torres's empire collapses under a mountain of legal pressure. 3 weeks later, Torres disappears. You never ask what happened. You move into a top-floor office, the real one, with a view over the entire city. And for the first time, you realize the view isn't a reward, it's a warning. 1 year in, you know which judges are paid, which politicians owe favors, and exactly how much each one costs. You finally understand that the prestigious firm you joined 13 months ago is a perfectly constructed shell hiding one of the most efficient criminal operations in the country, and you built half of it. The truth doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in slowly. One Wednesday, a junior associate you've been mentoring uncovers something she was never supposed to see: financial records tying two of Vasquez's front companies to a human trafficking operation at a port on the eastern coast. One morning, you're reviewing a shipping contract for a company registered in Panama when everything suddenly clicks. Every case you've won, every rival you erased on paper, every investigation you quietly shut down, all of it feeds the same machine. You're no longer just practicing law, you're cleaning it. It happens on a Wednesday. A junior associate you've been mentoring, fresh out of law school, wearing the same hungry, hopeful look you had 13 months ago, finds something she was never meant to find. A file buried deep inside the firm's system. Financial documents linking two of Vasquez's front companies directly to a human trafficking operation operating out of a port on the eastern coast. She walks into your office and shuts the door. Her hands are shaking. She asks you what she should do. You look at her and see who you used to be before this building consumed you. Someone who believed the law existed to protect people. Someone who thought justice was more than words carved above a courthouse door. You have 10 seconds to decide. If she goes public, everything collapses. The firm, the operation, you. Every case you touched, every legal wall you helped build, every choice you made comes crashing down. But if she stays silent, another shipment leaves the port. More people disappear into a system you've been legally protecting for over a year. You start to speak. Vasquez's voice comes from the doorway behind you. He already knows. What happens next unfolds with cold precision, the kind that only experience creates. Vasquez doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. He explains your situation calmly, like a surgeon describing a diagnosis before making the first cut. Calm, clear, final. The associate will be taken care of. Your choice is simple: stay and keep the machine running, or walk away and trust that a man who has dismantled entire organizations using paperwork won't do the same to you. You think about running. You think about the evidence you've been quietly collecting for months: receipts, recordings, documents proving exactly what this firm has done and exactly how you helped make it happen. Then you think about your mother, the money you've been sending home, your name splashed across every newspaper in the country. What that would do to the woman who raised you. You sit back down. You pick up the pen. You sign the next document Vasquez slides across the desk. The law was meant to level the playing field, a system designed to give people like you a real chance against people like Vasquez. But somewhere inside this building, on some floor you can't even remember, you stopped using the law to fight monsters. You became the reason they never enter a courtroom. You didn't betray the law in one dramatic moment. You betrayed it one perfectly legal decision at a time. That's it for today. This story is fiction, but somewhere out there, lawyers are making choices like these every single day. If this story stayed with you, leave a comment and tell me what hit you the hardest. I've got more stories like this coming, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.